What's illegal, but people act like it isn't? Switching lanes without using a signal. Jesus Christ, it's one motion with your wrist. It's not hard, and what the fuck are you people doing? Do you just hope and pray no one rear ends you? How do you get through the week in one piece? In South Africa, literally everything. It's not illegal if anybody important sees you. And even if they do see you, they don't care, or you can probably bribe them. You are stealing, right to jail. You are playing music too loud, right to jail, right away. Driving too fast, jail. Slow, jail. You are charging too high prices for sweaters, glasses, you right to jail. You undercook fish, believe it or not, jail. You overcook chicken, also jail. Undercook, overcook. You make an appointment with the dentist and you don't show up, believe it or not, jail, right away. We have the best patients in the world because of jail. Sounds like Ecuador. I'm from Canada and was backpacking there with my wife. A local lady, about 70 and originally from Florida, we stayed with, carried 2 revolvers in her purse. Me, being a gun enthusiast, had to have a look and ask some questions. I asked if guns were even legal in Ecuador. She replied, "They are, but it's too much paperwork. I just buy these off a dirty cop, and if I get busted, I bribe that cop and go buy more guns." In the US, telling non-managerial employees not to discuss wages. The National Labor Relations Act, which passed in 1935, makes it illegal for an employer to prohibit you in any way from discussion of your wages with others, unless your management, as in actually have control over others' salaries. Then they can tell you not to disclose those. And then, companies made it taboo as a matter of culture, and every company does that so everyone plays ball. My company rolled out do your own yearly review last year, and I thought it was horse shit and gave myself 5 stars across the board and got a 14% raise. I told everyone I work with they're all going to do it this year. I see your game, corporate. Fuck you, bourgeois fat cats. Either hire an HR person to actually put human eyes on my work, or give us raises no matter what. Don't try to guilt us into doing the work and underrating ourselves so you save money. In my cases, oppression is propagated through the oppressed people going after members of their own class who defy the oppression. This is sometimes called the crab bucket syndrome. When any crab tries to crawl out of the bucket, defying oppression, the other crabs grab it and drag it back down. For instance, if your coworker gets a promotion, do you feel glad for them or resentful? If it's resentful, do you consider that your reaction may be engineered by the system to keep you from effectively collaborating with that coworker to improve your working situation? In the Netherlands, scaffold theft. It is insane how many scaffolds get stolen, worth of thousands of euros. Entering the freeway at a very slow speed for no reason, or stopping completely first for no reason. Saw this car taking the ramp in front of me, and they just slowed to a stop right before you can enter the freeway. 2 cops were behind them and just flicked on their lights, and I could see one of them wave his hand like, what the fuck? Everyone behind them had to scoot over into all the road debris to get on the freeway. Stealing artwork/photos from the internet and using it for commercial purposes without permissions, logos, t-shirts, etc. Not talking about older images that are public domain like Starry Night. I'm talking artwork done by currently living artists who are most likely trying to make a living off their work. Too many people think that just because it's on the internet means it's free to use. I'm a graphic designer and I've sent several cease and desist letters to sealers, and they always say, well, if you didn't want it stolen, you should not have put them on the internet. They usually comply when I explain the law. Texting while driving. I live in a college town, and I take a mile walk every morning, and I like to watch people while waiting at crosswalks. It's infuriating how many people can just stare at their phones while driving. I could understand if it was just when you stopped, though you shouldn't do it even then, but these people roll up to a light, head tilted 90 degrees to the side, one hand on the wheel, and it drives me nuts. We all have company cars where I work. Great perk, don't pay for my gas, maintenance, or insurance. I never have to buy a car again. A new one just appears in my driveway every other year. If you get a texting while driving ticket, however, that perk is taken away for 5 years. They treat it the same as a DUI. Anything politicians/celebrities get away with on a daily basis. Also, weed in my country because the police are too underfunded to care anymore. Video game emulation. Yeah, most consoles are more or less legal, but ROMs are always illegal, unless copied directly from a personal cartridge or disc. Sucks, because archiving old games to a digital backup helps preserve their history, but the law doesn't seem to think so. It's a slippery slope, yeah. Depending in your country, it's fine to download ROMs as long as they aren't being officially sold anywhere. So that makes most retro games safe. Now, if you want to emulate a PS3 to play Persona 5 or a Wii U to play Breath of the Wild, you are going to need to buy the games and dump them yourself. If you care about the law, that is. It is very rare to get in trouble for just downloading them, like you would any other ROM. I feel like not enough people acknowledge that defamation of character is a thing. You can't lie to hurt someone's reputation. There are some weird nuances to this, if I recall correctly. Like cases where a true, character-damaging statement can still be considered defamation. Sounds absurd, but then again, the legal system is all kinds of weird. A FIAC, this also falls snugly in the realm of case-by-case rulings. A senator claiming XYZ false claims qualify as defamation is much more likely to win that case than Billy Bob Joe claiming that his ex-girlfriend saying he's bad in bed is. California Vehicle Code 22454. Special stops required. Driving past a school bus when the school bus has activated lights and swinging a stop sign. California Vehicle Code 22454. Drivers on both sides of the street must stop when the school bus's lights are flashing and/or the stop sign arm is extended. Failure to do so is a massive fine and driver license suspension. Also weed, but we don't mention that. In Germany, it's actually illegal to demand money for using a public restroom. For some reason though, Tank und Rast does exactly that and faces no consequences. They demand you pay to go on their toilets, which are literally everywhere. Together with Sanofier, they created an illegal business and make money with public restrooms. It's crazy how they get away with it. Driving while high or taking prescription medications that impair the ability to drive. If you are high, you are not a safe driver, period. You can also be impaired while taking narcotics, strong anxiety meds, or sleeping meds. Yes, some people are fine on anxiety medication, others are not. DUI means driving under the influence. It's not just alcohol that impairs your cognitive abilities and motor skills. I don't care what drugs of any kind you want to use on yourself. It only becomes a problem when it affects and endangers others. Tax fraud. The way people, in America at least, just kind of expect all rich people and politicians to have it done. Like, sometimes people get mad, but for the most part, yeah, no real consequences come from that. Inciting people to commit suicide, or hope the person commits suicide. In most areas of the world, saying, I want to kill insert person here, is often illegal. But what people don't always realize is that saying that person should kill himself is also seen as death threats. Yet, you see this all the time on social media, especially against politicians. In Canada, you can get up to 14 years in prison if you're found guilty. In large parts of the world, the line for inciting is a lot higher than you think. In many cases, merely wishing for a person to come to harm isn't considered a true threat and isn't actionable. This is especially true in the US. Using a photo, sound clip, or music you don't have rights to. Just because you can download it doesn't mean it's okay to use it. Also, putting garbage in someone else's can or bin. Fair housing laws in US, stating that unit is for college kids, no children, woman only, man only, etc., are all violations of fair housing. Entering units without proper posting, evictions, rent increases. I can go on and on about illegal actions performed by landlords. It's hard to point out these flaws without being discriminated against and not getting housing. I'm surprised no one has made a website yet that automatically syncs videos from different streaming sites so reactors can do their business somewhat legally. Cause I swear, one of these days, some of these people are going to be made an example and need a giant lawsuit from one of the big media copyright owners. I mean, at least pirating sources are somewhat anonymous. These people are literally putting their faces in all their videos and are taking money from people through Patreon or their own sites, while hosting what is essentially an entire catalog of shows illegally on Dailymotion, etc., while putting a nice edited front on YouTube. Double parking drives me absolutely insane. The vast majority of the time, you could easily park somewhere illegally, but most people are too self-important and or lazy to do that. Not using your turn/hazard signals properly. Come on people, if you want to merge in front of me, just flip the switch behind your steering wheel so I know to slow down a bit. I heard one person's excuse for not using a signal was, "It's none of your business to know where I'm going." Speeding on the left lane and thinking it's the fast lane. But there's no such thing as a fast lane. Speed limit is the speed limit for all lanes. Left lane is a passing lane for people on the right that's going slower than the speed limit. When taking a left turn, not turning into the far left lane, and when taking a right turn, not turning into the far right lane. Those laws are there so that a guy taking a left at a light and a guy taking a right in the opposite direction can go together. But nobody ever does that because you're a goddamn fool if you trust that son of a bitch will stay in their lane. Photocopying and handing out sheet music. In my orchestra, this is very commonly done. A lot of the times, they go to the proper channels and obtain permission, but sometimes they just pirate it. I think it's legal as long as it's for personal use and you don't hand it out, which is clearly not the case here. Not updating your US driver's license when you move, depending on the state. DOT can send you a single notice to your last known home of record, and if you don't pay for a fine or something, or don't respond for license suspension or the like, you can be fined quite heavily / suspended entirely. People who are waiting at a stoplight, but instead of waiting behind the white line, like they are supposed to, they stop in the damn crosswalk. And since I work in Seattle, which evidently has the worst drivers in the country now, this happens all the time. Driving with their brights on while on a crowded road. I'm so irritated that side mirrors don't have that dimming mirror trick that reviews do. Tired of being so blinded. In the USA/Canada/Mexico, possession of any native birds, except for a few. This includes live, dead, feathers, eggshells, and nests. It's called the MBTA, or Migratory Bird Treaty Act. Also in America, collection of marine life outside of most fish, bones such as seals, sea lions, whales, dolphins, etc. Not even a rib or tooth can be taken from the body. Both are federal crimes and can land you in 20+ years of prison, or like $15,000 in fines. The Hatch Act, barring federal employees from using the power of their official positions to push partisans' political outcomes. Seems to happen every day now. Abandoning their pets in the sidewalks or any other places. I'm assuming every country has an Animal Welfare Act or some sort in place. If you don't take care of your pets, then rehome them or turn them over to a nearest shelter. If you realize you can't stand your pet, or you simply choose your trashy homie over them, then you shouldn't have pets in the first place. Aerial fireworks. In North Carolina, aerial fireworks are illegal, so we only have the baby stuff for sale. But no one at all cares till we just drive to South Carolina to buy good fireworks and come back. It's still illegal, but the police don't care. Even they think it's dumb, so they don't enforce it. In my country, older people, specifically men, dating underage teens. Also minors at bars and clubs, drinking alcohol and smoking. It is illegal, but nobody cares. Smoking. Not in private places, in public places. It's illegal. And no, there doesn't have to be a freaking sign that specifically says smoking here is illegal. borrowing a friend's Netflix, Amazon, Hulu, or Disney Plus account. People rarely read the terms of service agreement, yet it's stated that these services will take legal actions if they suspect unauthorized use of the streaming platforms by persons who don't pay for such services against those individuals and deem it necessary. It's borderline illegal, yet everybody pretends it's okay and gives away their accounts to friends for free. While in university, Michigan 2010-ish, we learned it was illegal to swear in the presence of women or children. I looked it up now to verify. I remembered correctly and found out they changed the law in 2015 to remove this. Plastering the American flag on everything. It's illegal to put it on anything meant to be thrown away, like plastic cups or paper plates, on clothing apparel, and you're not supposed to hang one off the ceiling, which stores do all of the time. If you're a vendor in a retail store, it is illegal to move another company's product without permission from the store. Yet they do it all the fucking time. I come in and find my product moved to a different location, buried under someone else's. It is also illegal for a vendor to pay money or goods to a retailer in exchange for excluding a competitor's product. Yet it is extremely common. Taking guns onto planes in your carry-on. You have to check it and store it a specific way. But Orlando International Airport catches hundreds of people every year with guns and security checkpoint. In Norway, betting on stuff. Loads of people do it. TV is filled with commercials for betting because a lot of channels are broadcasted from places like UK or Sweden. They get around broadcasting laws. Norwegian celebrities are on those commercials endorsing it, usually retired soccer players, and nobody will really care. But the state has a monopoly on gambling in Norway, and it is strictly illegal to use any online betting site that isn't the one where you can buy state lottery tickets. Everybody does it anyway, and talks about it casually at work or wherever. Actually pretty weird now that I think about it. It's not really something anyone considers illegal, but it is. My last time working as a chairsperson for a polling place was the 2016 election. There was a woman who wanted a picture of her daughter with a sample ballot and a Clinton bumper sticker. I implored her to take the simple ballot, as we had extras, and do the picture outside once she was done voting. She acted like a Karen and got huffy, saying I was a Republican and intentionally upsetting her daughter. I had a father and son come in with the MAGA hats, and I told them to take off, so they did, but they held them behind their backs, with the brims facing out so you could still see the words. Both parties refused to believe what I had told them about electioneer rules, so I walked them both outside to point to the big ass sign saying, "No electioneering within 100 feet. That was the only time I had any problems with voters in the many elections I worked. Sampling and remixing music. It's not free license. You have to buy the use for the song and credit the original composer, but you literally never see this happen. Music is one of the most stolen things because it's hard to track and prove. Riding a bike between ages 10 and 13 in Poland. Law is constructed such that you are allowed to ride a bike on a pedestrian zones until you are 10, but you need to be 13 to get a license that allows you to ride on the roads. So technically, it's not possible to drive the bike legally for those 3 years. People also ignore the white below 10 years old with pedestrian walking zones and riding a bike. Unless there's a bike road, people pretty much completely tolerate riding a bike on those, even if you are older. In USA, under 18 USC section 2257, anyone filming or photographing people in the nude, pornography, is supposed by law to make and keep certain formal records of the persons being filmed, especially of their birthdays and the date of the filming/photographing, so that if the FBI should ask for these records, that verifies everyone involved was overage, so no child porn was produced. And yet, texting nude pictures of oneself is common among Americans looking to hook up. Serious. Possessing lolicon/shotacon on your hard drive. The law explicitly says that anything depicting children being looted was unlawful. but it never says that they had to be actual pictures of real children.